So your reading exam, there will be 4 main questions that you'll have to answer in an hour. So 15 minutes reading time, 10 minutes per question with 5 minutes left over for any checking. So the first question that you might get is a list, find, or evidence type question. The advice is to find 10 or 12 things for this question. For foundation paper, you can bullet point whatever evidence you find from the extract. And with the higher paper, you just need to list, but join it with connectives. So the writer says this, and suggests this, and also this, and just use other connectives all the way through to link all those 10 to 12 things together. The reason you're getting 10 to 12 is that there are 10 marks available, and if you lose a couple, your 12 just provide that safety net. If you can't get 12, don't worry. If you get 10 and think, right, that's it, they're definitely correct, and then leave it there. For foundation paper, this question is often split up into separate parts. So it will say, name one thing that the writer suggests about such and such, and that one will be worth 1 mark. If it is broken up, then look at how those 10 points are distributed. So there might be 1 mark available for one question, 2 for another, 3 for another. The number indicates how many points you need to find. Okay, so if it says 3 and you only make 2 remarks about the text, you're going to lose out on 1 point. Okay, so 10 or 12 main points that you're going to find, unless the question is broken up for foundation paper. Foundation bullet point, higher list, but link in between. Okay, another question you might get is viewpoints, attitudes, thoughts or feelings. So these will be getting you to think about what the writer thinks about the subject. Or alternatively, what impression they give the reader. Okay, again, 10 minutes for this. Find 5 or 6 points and just link evidence for each. So the author thinks that such and such. The author states that such and such. The author suggests that such and such. This is shown in the quote. So use your evidence to support each point as you go along. So make 1 point, support it, make 1 point, support it. So support each one, because then you've got 2 marks for each of the points that you find. 1 for the point you make and 1 for the appropriate evidence to support it. In terms of the quote that you're going to select, pick a short phrase or a single word. There is no need to use more than that. Okay, so short phrase or a single word. If the question is slightly different in that what impressions does the author give about, the author gives the impression that such and such, and then use a quote to support. So you're just changing your mindset slightly if it says impressions. So viewpoints, attitudes, thoughts and feelings are what the author thinks of something. The impressions are what the author gives to the reader. Okay, so just slight change in that, but you're going to answer it in the same way. So point, evidence, point, evidence, point, evidence, all the way through. Get 5 or 6 just to be safe. Okay, another question which we've worked on quite a lot is, how does such and such persuade us that? Don't always expect to see the word persuade in there. Okay, the examiners aren't always going to use that. But how does the author suggest that animal cruelty is wrong? Okay, that is looking at persuasive, because it's said that animal cruelty is wrong. So there's one point of view that you're being persuaded of. So there's a persuasion in there somewhere. Okay, my original suggestion was that 5 or 6 points should be made for this one. If you're analysing correctly, then you could get away with doing 4 rather than the 5 or 6. So if you follow through the analysis fully, then you should be fine to get a few less. So 10 minutes again. You need to be using deforest. If you can't find things like your direct address, so your personal pronouns, I, you, we, you can't find alliteration, so your words starting with the same letter. You can't find rhetorical questions. You can't find emotive language. You can't find rule of 3. Then your facts, opinions and statistics can get you very far. Okay, those of you on the higher paper, you should try and tap into some of those higher techniques. Okay, so get used to spotting them, have a look through some leaflets, articles, newspapers, reading online, and just see what you can spot in terms of those techniques. But the other stuff, the facts, opinions and statistics, will get you quite far. Okay, so the writer uses, then pick your technique, it could just be a fact, quote from the text, this persuades the reader that such and such because such and such. The writer also uses technique, quote, analyse it in terms of how the reader's affected. The writer further persuades with this, and then use other suitable connectives, moreover, even more. Check out the connectives mats on the spelling, punctuation and grammar part of the website. Yeah, so state what the writer's using, quote from the text, again, short phrase, single word is fine. This persuades the reader that they should such and such because it emphasises it, it creates an image for the reader. So really think about what occurs as a result of the technique being used by the writer. The grid that I gave you about the forest is also on the website under the writing section, hannahtimondgcse.wordpress.com. Have a look, sorry, it'll be under the reading section, I think I said writing then. So it'll be under the reading section, the grid that I gave you about the forest and how it should be used. Okay, final question you could get is compare and contrast. With the foundation paper, you'll be given headings to compare underneath. So just use those and make your separate points underneath each. It'll often be the case that your 10 points will be broken up into under each of those headings. So you might get 5 points for one, 4 points for another heading, and so on. With your higher paper, you might well get headings as well, but you should also try and use connectives. Okay, so when you're making a comparison, say that this author thinks this, list under that heading, whilst this author compares in that they think this, on the other hand they think this, moreover they think this, furthermore they think this. So use your connectives to make those comparisons between the two authors and what they think. 5 or 6 points, unless with the foundation paper your points are broken down under each heading. 10 minutes again, so you're going to have 5 minutes left unless you've run over on any of the questions. I'd anticipate that your how does persuade and the compare and contrast questions are going to take you a little longer than a lot of the rest. Okay, so final few tips. With your reading time, identify audience and purpose. Read the questions, annotate both extracts according to the questions. You can use highlighters, so highlight in different colours, or use letters and numbers for each question. Underline useful words or phrases as you go. The more you underline, the more time you put into the reading at this point, the easier your writing will be because you'll have gathered all the information you need. Okay, so last thing, check out the website, so hannahtimondgcse.wordpress.com. There's lots of other videos and resources on there. There are practice papers under the reading and writing sections. Use the mark schemes there to mark them yourself. Mr. Bruff's ebook is excellent. I've put this under the reading and writing sections underneath where web links are. Okay, so it's got that on there. And there are also other recommended websites to get further practice advice and tips. Okay, final revision session. Come along to that and I will see you at the exam on Tuesday. Okay, good luck with revision. Get in touch if you need any help.